you were able to sort of combine happy hour with this happy occasion. Let there be a lot more of that in life as we know it. So I'm Phil Harling. I'm the director of the Center for the Humanities, and of course, most, if not all of you, are familiar with the Books and Books series that we have here of faculty book talks. And tonight, it's really such a great privilege to welcome my friend Eziaku to the podium. But first, I need to welcome Pat Saunders, who's going to give Eziaku a proper introduction. So Pat Saunders is Associate Professor and DGS in the Department of English and Hemispheric Caribbean Studies Lead at UM. In addition to a great many journal articles and book chapters, Pat is the author of Alienation and Repatriation, Translating Identity in Anglophone Caribbean Literature. That's from Lexington Books 2007. And really quite recently, and just last year, Pat gave a really fascinating book talk on her latest book over at PAM. It was a wonderful event. And that book is entitled Buyers Beware, Insurgency and Consumption in Caribbean Popular Culture. That's Rutgers University Press 2022. So Pat, yes. Come on up.
Good evening, everyone. Let me first start by saying we really do need to update our website at UM. I am full professor.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's
My bad, Pat.
You know, Eziaku told me the same thing. She's like, have you looked at your website? I was like, yeah, I know. It is.
That makes a lot more sense to me.
It's one of those things that we always try to get to, but no apologies necessary. It's on. I can't even say it's on IT, it's on us, because they've been asking us to update our information. We're like, yeah, it's in the mail, it's in the mail. It really is in the mail, right? But I am particularly pleased to be here this evening to introduce a friend and colleague, Professor Eziaku Nwokocha, Eziaku Atuma Nwokocha, who is an assistant professor at the University of Miami, Department of Religious Studies. She's a scholar of Africana religions with expertise in ethnographic study of Vodou in Haiti and the Haitian diaspora. Her research is grounded in gender and sexuality studies, visual and material culture, and Africana studies. She obtained her PhD in Africana studies from the University of Pennsylvania, her master's degree in in theological studies. I need new glasses. I need to embrace that fact. Theological studies from Harvard Divinity School, and her bachelor's degree in Black Studies and Feminist Studies from the University of California, Santa Barbara. Professor Nwokocha's work has been featured in the Journal of Haitian Studies, the Harvard Divinity Bulletin, Reading Religion, and Women's Studies Quarterly. Professor Nwokocha is currently working on her second book project. Even though this book just came out, she's hard at it. Her second book project, tentatively titled Tell My Spirit, Black Queer Women in Haitian Vodou, which investigates Black queer women's interactions with Haitian Vodou divinities, including in Montreal, Miami, Havana, Cuba, Paris, Brooklyn, New York, and Northern California. It gives me, as someone whose work focuses on popular culture and the importance of the sartorial in Black diaspora cultures, I think that Eziaku's work is a breath of fresh air in so many ways. And I'm not the only one saying that. Some of the early feedback about the book already, and this is from Judith Castleberry at Vogue College. She says, and I quote, "This exciting and important book breaks new conceptual ground by linking one's manner of dress and bodily adornment to the formation of religious belief and community. Nwokocha's idea of spiritual Vogue centers on Vodou and other African-derived spiritual systems, but the implications of her work extend broadly into fields such as Africana studies, religious studies, gender and sexuality studies, and fashion studies, end quote. One more important, I think, contribution that the book makes that someone else, Ms. Diane Stewart at Professor Diane Stewart at Emory University says, Nwokocha's superb work offers a much needed corrective to previous scholarship that presents Voodoo as a religion defined by poverty and precarity. Her skillful observations and thoughtful descriptions of the thoughts, desires, and delights of deities and devotees reveal the rich thought world of Voodoo as it is practiced today, end quote. And I think, one of the things, I'm early in the book, I'm kind of giddy with excitement to be able to finish reading it, is that, the book really invites us into a broad space of interdisciplinarity, of intertextuality. And I mean, as someone, I see a few of my students, undergrad and grad in the audience, where I'm always encouraging them to think text broadly. That fashion is one of the most critical texts in the Black diaspora if you want to understand at a deeper level the politics, the ideas of community, ideas of wealth, spirituality. Read fashion, read clothing, read music. And I think I'm looking forward to having many conversations with Eziaku about this book. And without further ado, I would like to invite Eziaku to the mic.
Look at everyone. Y'all came to see me. That's cool. Can everyone hear me? I'm mic'd up. All right, because you already could tell that I'm already like an anxious and rambunctious kind of person. So thank you so much for coming to the talk. This is a fun moment for me. This book, I've been going on a book tour for almost a year and a half now, and this book tour is not just a simple book tour. It is a book tour that is worth many tears, many celebrations, many laughs, many just crazy situations that has happened to me over the course of 15 years. So this tour is a tour of joy and celebration. I presented Vodou and Vogue within different parts of the country within the United States, Canada, the Caribbean, soon to be Europe. I'm leaving for Italy tomorrow. Dan, now you know. And West Africa, I was presented in Ghana and Senegal. And I must say that there's nothing that beats coming home to Miami. As some of you all know, I am still fairly new to the University of Miami. And one of the major reasons I chose this academic space, not only for my fabulous colleagues who are here today, so thank you, Henry, Dan, David, Dexter, Catherine, and Justin, and I see some of my extended folks from Edmund, Alana. And again, thank you so much for the introduction, Pat and Phil. I'm going to talk about the homies. Y'all are homies, so thank you. But it's critically important to think about Haitian religion, Haitian culture in Miami, which is predominantly, after Haiti, it is the biggest and largest population of Haitian people in the world. So does anyone know the second largest population? Go ahead.
Montreal.
No, that's actually the fourth.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, again, this is an aquaponic kind of conversation, so I'm going to be calling and responding. So there's going to be a lot of that. So you don't have to wait for the Q&A to talk to me. All right, Pat, I see you.
New York.
New York. And does anyone know the third one?
Boston.
Boston. I see you. Yeah, so this is where the book is located, and where the book resides. And I see a number of my students that are here, and I thank you so much for coming. Y'all gonna get hella extra credit, don't worry, I got you. I'm currently teaching a Caribbean religion class, and I'm spoiled by Miami. Part of their midterm, especially my Caribbean religion class, is for students to go to a botanica and to think about the spiritual items that are present within multiple Caribbean religions, such as Cuban Santeria, Vodou, Haitian Vodou, and Brazilian Candomblé. So some of y'all might have gone to the botanica just soon, and you probably will see like ritual items for Oshun, and so they would write about it, talk about it, and then present it. So again, when you think about doing this type of work, in Miami. I mean, the city is my playground, so this has been so fun. And I'm just very excited for these conversations that I'm going to be talking about. Does anyone know what this is? That song? Yeah? Okay. Well, don't worry, I got y'all. So again, I thank everyone for being here today. So, Vodou in Vogue stands as the second ethnographic case study of a Vodou practitioner since Karen McCarthy Brown's landmark book, Mama Lola. Who has read Mama Lola before? Yes. Okay, cool. So, this book, I'm ready. This book came out in 1991. And so now it's been over 30 years, and I'm the second person that's ever written a book on a Haitian Vodou practitioner. So I'm kind of like the Cam Ward of Africana religion, if I would say myself. Poised in the midst of chaos, bringing about change, stirring things up. So over 30 years later, my book offers a thorough exploration of the contemporary lived realities of Vodou, destigmatizing its rituals, beliefs, and vitally important African diasporic religious traditions practiced by millions of people. And I just want to pause and just think about the book cover. Isn't it fabulous? Yeah, I've gotten so many compliments. Oh, no, we're going to have a great time because I love this call and response. That would give me energy. I wanted us to think about, especially when I was thinking about the idea about fashion and sensationalism, and we're going to watch a couple of clips that have to do with a number of things about fashion and sensationalism, but I think that after this talk, you'll be primed to see a video of those types of outlandish, high energy, very sexual experiences. But in terms of the book cover, I wanted us to think about how Vodou can be sophisticated, it can be glamorous, it can be there can be an embodiment, and also to think about the spirit in Vodou. And so in this case, there's Manbo Maude is taken over by the spirit Kuzan Azaka. Does anyone know who Kuzan Azaka is? He is the spirit of agriculture. So this is actually a sad photo. This is a ceremony in Boston, and he was sad that people forgot his song, and they didn't remember. And so some people had to ask people to know what the song is, and so they lit a candle for memory, and some actually knew the song that he wanted to sing, and thus this is what I was able to capture. As you can see, has anyone read a Vogue magazine before? Mm-hmm. So again, I was really thinking about the colors, the type of the font, and also again, when we think about Vodou, there's a way that Vodou has been seen as hyper-sensationalized, hyper-erotic, and I did not want to do that work. So again, the visualization of Vodou, especially as a second ethnographic book, I was very mindful and detailed about how I wanted to be, how this book wanted to be seen. So before I begin to talk more about this book, when you think about Vodou, what are the first things that come to your mind? And don't worry, let me just make sure I say this. Don't worry, there's nothing you haven't said that I haven't heard in my class, haven't heard in all these talks. So again, I want us to think about just what the thoughts are. Go ahead. The Haitian Revolution. Oh, that's nice. You thought about the Haitian Revolution the first time you thought about Haitian Vodou. Are you Haitian? Okay. All right. I was like, don't do this. I know you're smart. 3 more. What else? What else have we heard? Witchcraft. Of course, witchcraft. Darkness. Yeah. Dolls. The voodoo dolls. Yes, the voodoo, not Vodou dolls. So I think that it's important to know. Has anyone seen American Horror Stories? Yeah. So does anyone see The Coven? So I now know that I'm getting timed out because some of my students have not seen this. So I had to use examples of Princess of the Frog. So, but American Horror Stories was amazing because of the fact that in a way it gets us to think about how people have captured Vodou and Voodoo, and also again when they think about different types of spirits and divinities, it has been seen as more demonic. So you see the red eyes, the chalk across the chalk on the face, which again, that's in Haitian Vodou. But again, the way that it's used is used as a space of darkness and fear. And again, the skulls. So again, I'm going to be returning to this. So before I continue on with this narrative of the book and for us to think about the complexity of the book, I really want us to think about some of the terms that I have that you'll hear me say in the talk. So you're hearing me already say Vodou, not voodoo. Why is that? And then you could just read, but why Vodou, not voodoo? My students should know this. Don't you embarrass me. Come on, Taylor. Why Vodou, not voodoo? It's the correct pronunciation, and it's coming from the Fon word from Benin, right? That means spirit. And then what else? Why else? Why Vodou, not voodoo? Yeah, go ahead.
When I think of voodoo, I think of New Orleans.
Exactly. So this is also to differentiate the different types of religious practices, because voodoo is a practice that is happening in New Orleans. But again, Vodou comes from the Fon word, and so again, this intonation is actually important to differentiate the different types of religious traditions that are happening, and to understand the different types of complexities that have changed over time from Haiti into the diaspora. So again, now that we know that you're supposed to say Vodou and not voodoo, unless you're talking about New Orleans, you all can like leave this place right now and be like, oh, I'm an expert in Haitian religion now. So you're welcome. You're welcome. And I see you.
Thank you.
You'll also hear me use the term Manbo, which is a term to describe a female or male initiate, that's for Ngan, who has undergone training in ceremonial, spiritual, and ritual work. Or a practitioner, and that's who that is, any person who practices the religion, and an initiate who practices, who are practitioners, have undergone the formal initiation rituals required to carry out specific religious responsibilities that non-initiated practitioners are not privy to. And then I'm also thinking about the audience, people who are witnesses, people who are able to sit and think alongside of the spiritual home, but who are not actually a part of Manbo Maude's home. And again, I make this distinction because when we're thinking about the interplays of a Vodou ceremony, you need the audience, the spirits, and the practitioners, and this triangulation is what helps me think about this concept, which I'll talk later in the future. Now on to Manbo Maude. I wanted to read my preface, and I think that this will help get us some context as to what you're about to enter before you read my work. Has anyone started reading already? I know my colleagues have read it. Has anyone started? So the preface, okay, you'll see. I have grown wary of arguing for Haiti's wholeness. I have grown wary of arguing about Haiti in the face of the pervasive anti-Black insistence that the country is barren, broken, deficient of resources and culture, and unable to express the decidedly human impulse of stylish adornment. While presenting my work at universities and colleges over several years, I have repeatedly faced a question that has always caused me to furrow my brows and burn with frustration. What about Haiti's poverty? And then the inevitable follow-up, why is Haiti so poor? Are the participants in the ceremonies if Haiti is so poor, are the participants in the ceremonies I described so lavish in their dress? Underlying these inquiries is a larger concern about Black people's relationship to wealth that colors perceptions about communities. When Black people accumulate wealth and then choose to show that wealth via dress, a Black woman on the south side of Chicago in a fur coat, Caribbean men wearing Gucci belts, Black teens sporting Jordans, or wealthy Nigerians leading opulent lifestyles in Lagos, they challenge the dominant white colonial social order on some level. The idea of conspicuous consumption of lavish splendors who neglect their basic needs in the service of status is frequently at the heart of anxieties about how Black people spend their money. These issues are complex, and I cannot claim to have explanations for all of them. Yet, when someone raises their hand at a university and asks me why Black practitioners of Vodou spend money to practice their faith when their country is so poor, I hear echoes of these anti-Black themes in their question. This book is not about Haiti's poverty. If you are seeking a conversation about the country's economic conditions or the relative poverty of Haitian people, you will be disappointed by the pages that follow. Let me just say that again. This book is not about Haiti's poverty. If you're seeking a conversation about the country's economic conditions or the relative poverty of Haitian people, you'll be disappointed by the pages that follow. My aim instead is to challenge our ideas and assumptions about Black practitioners of Vodou. Vodou and wealth are falsely understood as opposites, as mutually exclusive. Haiti and Vodou are represented as poor without any investigations of the geopolitical white supremacist forces that create that poverty in the first place. To define Haiti through poverty is to negate the long-lasting and ongoing impacts of colonialization and the continuing post-colonial strippings of the wealth from its national coffers by France, the United States, Canada, and increasingly China, a country eager to extract resources from Haiti. The insistence on calling out Haiti's poverty in the face of the global North's wealth ignores how Western Europe and North America gained and maintained their wealth. It also fails to account for the incalculable amount of wealth that Haiti has created for European powers. Simplistic questions about Haiti's poverty are distracting, dismissive, and denigrating, and often devoid of rigorous theoretical foundations. Usually, criticism about Haiti's poverty and the stylish adornment practices in Vodou do not involve political or economic arguments that might animate the concepts of Marxism or Marxists, for example. These criticisms do not condemn the way capitalism operates in the Western Hemisphere, but merely the perceived material excess of Vodou. The many conversations and lectures about Roman Catholicism I participated in and heard throughout my time in academia never included questions about its lavish ceremonies and vestments in relation to the wealth or poverty of the laity. Yet the ritual adornments in Vodou is often categorized as a showy demonstration of social status and improper spending, rather than expression of religious beliefs. Preoccupation with the spending habits of Vodou practitioners reveals an assumption that their ability to meet their own material needs and to make sound judgment about expending money on religious practices. I thought that by taking the time to explain the inner economic workings of Manbo Maude in her Vodou temples will illustrate the complexities of her religious practices, yet I continue to hear the same questions. The specter of poverty and poverty's often unacknowledged racialisms haunt perceptions of Haiti, warping its shape in people's minds. This book is an attempt to exorcise these ghosts and name white supremacy as the genesis of this haunting. Vodou is a black religion that is wrongly demarcated as a religion solely for the poor. The relentless focus on Haiti's poverty completely misses creative expressions of faith and adornment in service of the spirits. Vodou is about love. Vodou is about self-love. Vodou is revolutionary love. Vodou has created revolutions. Vodou defies gender and sexual boundaries. Vodou is pro-black supremacy. It imagines a world beyond the material realities of the anti-black political present we inhabit, and it venerates the spirits, the people, and the community. When Manbo Maude emphasizes the display of relative material wealth in her ritual clothes, she is met with discomfort and skepticism by people of all colors, black and white, Haitian and American, within societies shaped by white supremacy. All black wealth is perceived as ill gain. And what I mean by this is that when people talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce, what do people say?
They're Illuminati.
They're Illuminati. They sold their souls to the devil. That's how do they get this money? So again, when we think about black wealth, this is what I'm talking about. Like every time black people have access to money, they're like, "Oh, what did you do to get this type of wealth?" So only white people deserve nice things, and black poverty is the standard. People of all races are affected by these perceptions. For Manbo Maude, the persistent concern about her wealth or poverty does not result in punishment from a state power, yet people express disdain for her showy religious ceremonies. Over the phone in the summer of 2020, I said jokingly to Manbo Maude, "Manbo Maude, you got hella haters, both online and even when people are coming to your temple." She snorted and laughed. "Yes, girl, I have haters. People can hate on me all they want, but I don't care, and this is me on a budget. If I had more money, you'll see me. They will all see, and they will hate on me some more." Manbo Maude has granted readers the permission to hate on her. She is not bothered by her haters. She will not allow outside opinions to dictate how she spends her money. Her spirituality cannot be commodified, even when Westerners try to do so relentlessly. Manbo Maude revels in her celebration and of the devotion to the spirits. She thinks about the divine every day and does not deprive herself of stylish adoration practices, no matter her financial means, whatever they may be. I watched how the spirits lovingly move with her and how she affectionately engages with them, even when she is not doing spiritual work. She plays Vodou music in her home and while driving in her car purely for the enjoyment of listening. This book is an affirmation and a celebration of Black practitioners' relationship with Black divinities and an ongoing conversation with the natural and the supernatural worlds. Manbo Maude respects the spirits because they are real. She argues and negotiates with the spirits because they are real. I do not attempt to challenge the veracity of the spirit's presence. Instead, I privilege belief. Now, I'm going to pause real quick by saying, this is what I feel that is very different about this book. Because as sometimes scholars of religious studies, we try to sometimes explain away religious beliefs and practices. When someone says, God spoke to me, there will be some scholars that will say, oh, I wonder if that is actually God, or I wonder if they were just trying to negotiate their power. So for me, in this book, when someone says, the Spirit spoke to me, I say, what did the Spirit say? Who is that Spirit? And by doing this, it illuminates so many things about the ways we think about race, gender, sexuality, about class, and how people communicate with one another. So again, ultimately, this book exercises Haiti from its past narratives defined by deprivation, poverty, and pain. I situate Vodou as a religion in the present with boundaryless futures, unstoppable by white supremacist geopolitical practices. Neither poverty nor wealth can define Vodou. Like Haiti, it is whole and fraught with haters. Thank you.
All right.
So upon hearing that preface, I was inspired by W.B. Du Bois's Black Reconstruction. Has anyone read that book? It was an assessment of the post-Civil War era in a time where African American progress was met with white supremacist backlash, and ultimately the unjust social order of Jim Crow. And I was thinking to myself, how do I prepare my readers for what they're about to see? And again, when I'll tell my story about myself and add some background, you will know that I have been standing on the backs of just amazing scholars who have helped me and guided me. And again, there's been a number of scholars over the past 40 to 50 years who have done that work of saying why Haiti and Haitian Vodou is a world religion, and the religion has some rigor and we need to think about its complexities. So instead of me just coming in and saying, oh, just letting you know it's still good, I'm coming in and saying, yes, it is, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about these complexities. So when you read the book, this is what you're going to see. So hearing that and hearing the preface, what stood out to you? What stood out to you? I'll say three comments.
Well, one thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
No, go ahead, and then I'll take you. Yeah.
I thought I heard you in your preface comparing, and I'm not sure I heard
Yeah,
it right.
please.
That with Catholicism or with the Vatican and their adornment
yeah.
with their wealth
Yeah,
is not questioned.
yeah,
And I hear you saying this is the same principle operating here,
exactly.
but at the same time, it's vilified because blacks aren't supposed to think
Exactly,
like that.
exactly.
Okay, great.
No, that's exactly it.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
exactly
I
it.
just wanted to
You're on
make sure I
point.
heard.
You get an A if you're in my class. No, this is exactly what I'm saying. That there is something about again, when we think about Haiti being a world religion, and when I consider a world religion, I'm thinking about religions that have moved across different spaces, religions that have been practiced within multiple cultures, multiple geopolitical places, and the fact that when we think about how people come back to Haiti to get their spiritual resources, like people go to Mecca, people go to Jerusalem, people go to Morocco, people go to Haiti, people go to Benin for these spiritual practices. So again, when we think about world religions, it's important to think about what types of religions get praised, what types of religions get honored, and what types of religions get stereotyped. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that the whole different set of values are in play here. I think of, for example, a Protestant background where priests or ministers wear very, very plain clothes.
Yeah.
The idea is you don't want to draw attention to yourself.
That's true.
But it's very, very different
Yeah.
with Vodou,
Yeah.
and in fact other religions as well.
Yeah.
It also reminds me when I was at the University of Chicago living on the South Side, I scratched my head and said, what are these people doing in these impoverished areas, driving Cadillacs and wearing furs?
Yeah.
And I think, in a sense, the issue of status is the same thing as here as at work.
Yeah.
It seems to me.
Yeah, of course.
You correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a way of distinguishing oneself from
Yeah.
the larger culture.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
effect.
For some religious cultures, the fashion can be simple and plain because that, for them, that shows their connection to God. And then there's religious traditions like Vodou, just like you said, David, where the lavishness, the types of glamour can be showcased. And again, this is not all of Vodou. I just want to make sure I preface this by saying I have been to over 300 ceremonies in my span of 15 years. I've seen Vodou ceremonies in the north of Haiti and the south of Haiti. I've seen different religious Vodou in the rural parts and then the urban parts. And also when I went to, as Pat was talking about, in Miami, Jersey, and California, and of course Boston, Massachusetts. Vodou looks different throughout time, and Vodou looks different throughout the ways that people are displaying it. So again, for Manbo Maude, this is Manbo Maude, for her to be using this religious tradition as a way to glamorize this religion, this is its own idea, own work of spiritual innovation. And so, this is something that should not be seen as a bad thing, but how religion can be celebrated and with people's own gifts. So, I think I have one more. Yes.
It really stood with me when you said that I privilege belief.
Yes.
And I think that's like really beautiful.
Yeah.
But I also wonder, I mean, for me as, somebody who also, I'm studying witchcraft as, the student level, I'm wondering what are the methodology implications? I mean, what is the look that a scholar should have in order to have that, the sensitivity that takes for you to be able to privilege belief without feeling that can take down a little bit of your scholarship.
Yeah. I think this is where I have to, as a scholar, move with confidence and move with this eye and concern about and this understanding that when I'm asking somebody, a group in community's belief, I'm trying to understand this meta conversation about ideas about gender, ideas about sexuality, how people are thinking about this, what we call ontology, how we know what we know. And this is important because when someone says, oh, Ogu told me that I need to do spiritual work so that I can help with my cousins or my family. So I'm now understanding, by you saying Ogu is telling you to help you with this use of spiritual work, you're also thinking about how you're thinking about community formations and family orientations. So again, Ogu does not stop me from getting to the answer. Do you know what I'm saying? What actually it does, it opens the door. And so by me asking that question, then the people feel comfortable and they tell me more things about how they see the spirits and their interactions with themselves and the community. So thank you so much. That's a very good question. Something else that I want to make sure I say before I continue on my joy and happiness tour is that when we think about the Haitian independence and the Haitian Revolution, I'm going to talk about this, we never think about, or there are people that we're finally having this conversation to think about how Haiti has been stripped of its wealth. And I feel like people know this in this room. Does anyone not know this about what happened to Haiti? Let me just give you a quick thing. So after 1790, the Haitian independence was from 1791 to 1804. Haitian people got their independence. Something happened to Haiti immediately after. Who can tell me?
France called in its marker, so to speak.
It called in as what?
Called in its debts.
Yeah. They said you must pay your debts of loss of property. What were the property? The people. and its land and its resources. You must pay that money. And for France, the United States, Germany, all European nations blockaded Haiti, a developing country. That until Haiti started to pay that wealth, they were not going to even engage with Haiti. And when we think about the Caribbean, who's been to any part of the Caribbean? So you see, okay, where have you been? Just say it. Haiti. Oh. Okay, listen. You're trying to show up in my show. Okay. Where have you been?
Jamaica,
Cuba, Dominican
Dominican
Republic,
Republic, nice.
Bahamas.
Okay, listen, okay, I just said one, y'all trying to talk on my show. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop right here, but clearly you guys have been to the Caribbean, and you know that the Caribbean is close to Europe. So again, when we think about this transnational communication, we need Europe. People need, it's okay to say that you need other countries to help develop your own country. And that got blockaded. So this is not just like $5. Like do I have $5 right now? I don't have $5. But this is about $1 billion. Do you all know when Haiti stopped paying that type of money to that type of debt? Does anyone know?
Recently.
To the 80s, actually. It's very recent. But okay, y'all just know. You want to talk about my book? So again, there was another revolution that happened around the same time. Does anyone know? This is kind of where we're at, you know. Yeah, it's in left view somewhere. 17, yeah, what happened? What was that? What's that called? The American Revolution.
Yes.
Did the United States have to pay Britain for the loss of tea?
No. They tried.
But did it succeed?
They did not.
They did not. So again, when we think about people having a head start, when we think about the type of prosperity and how nations are building, it is important for the visualization for both the United States and Europe to see Haiti as a failed nation. So again, these types of ideologies, it seeps into the minds of people, both black, white, it doesn't matter. It seeps into the Haitian people's minds. So again, these are the realities of things I have to deal with when I'm talking to people about how they see themselves, how they see Vodou, how they say that Vodou is bad or it's devil worship. So again, when I chose Manbo Maude, and I'm thinking about how Manbo loves Vodou, this is important for me to think about how she is pushing back on these stereotypes about wealth. So again, wealth is a huge thing that we're going to turn to. I want to just give you a quick background that you will see in the book that deals with some ideas about Black feminist ethnography, my approach. And I know I see some of my students here. Again, y'all get extra credit. Don't worry about it. I got you. But you will notice by hearing my name, Eziaku Nwokocha, that there is I have a Nigerian ancestry, first generation or second generation in sociological terms. Don't get mad at me. But the lay people say first generation. But second generation Igbo descendant. And when I was telling people early on, scholars in anthropology, religious studies, Africana studies, that I was studying Haitian Vodou, people were like, why? Why are you studying Haitian Vodou? Aren't you Nigerian? Can't you study your own religious tradition? Well, one, that's kind of messed up. But two, there's a reason behind this. And I want to just give you a background. Because again, I think that if you don't understand my parents and my je ne sais quoi, you're not going to understand how I move and why the book moves in the ways it does. So, oh, look at my little family. We're missing two brothers here. Has anyone watched Tyler Perry's Sisters?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gary, that's my brother.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was in a shoot. So I'm showing off right now. So you know, we're family, we got it. So they're really pretty. But for my dad and my mom, as you can see here and here, my dad served in the Biafra War. Who knows about the Biafra War from 1969 to 1971? So this is the time where the Igbo people were trying to secede from the Nigeria at large, and they were trying to be its own independent nation. It was a failed attempt. I could have been called Biafran instead of Nigerian, but my dad was one of the commanders in chief in that space. So I want you all to know, when people were getting stories of like bedtime, goodnight moon, nice little baby stories, there's the caterpillar eating some type of food, whatever. I was getting war stories. That's what got me to go to sleep. My dad would talk about like the hunger, the famine, and he would tell me about the ways that he was able to survive. But also he would talk about the little trinkets and ritual materials that Igbo people would hold near to them to keep them alive and to survive. I was always fascinated by that. I said, Dad, what is that? These small little parts that people will hold. And he'll say, Eziaku. And don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at my accent. But he'll be like, Eziaku. This is just tradition. And I was like, well, what is that tradition? Please tell me more. And so there is a generation of West Africans, and also I'm going to add Caribbean people, that try to hide some of the indigenous knowledge due to pain or also due to assimilation. And so for me, I was always curious, because as coming from a Christian background, you see, you go to a Christian home. If you've ever been to a black home, everyone knows this. People know this. I feel like everyone has a black friend. So you go to a home, you'll see what on the wall? You'll probably see Obama, Martin Luther King. Okay, so I see Martin Luther King Jr. Sometimes white Jesus.
Yeah.
And then there'll be this room or table where it could be for your ancestors, your grandmother, your great grandmother. But in my case, we will have that, and there'll be also little images and ritual items from the Igbo traditions that will be there. And I'm like, what's this, Dad? And he'd be like, Eziaku, this is just tradition. This is just our way. And I was like, Dad, you gotta tell me more. So again, what I could not do in my own land, when I was reading in college about Haitian religion and that African indigenous peoples that were coming from Congo, Angola, Benin, I saw Igbo people in Haiti. And when I first traveled to Haiti in 2009, right before the earthquake, I noticed that there's a way that when I was coming in, this is different from Yoruba people, the Haitian people will say, oh, Zaku, you were meant to be here. The Igbos are here. We believed in Biafra. So again, this is part of the narrative. And I thought that was really cool to think about how I can be a part of this diaspora and how I could see myself alongside this long understanding of Black diaspora history and contemporary religious practices. So, in college, who's an undergrad here and who's a grad student? Okay, who's undergrad and grad? Okay. When I was in college, I came in as a pre-pharmacist. So, is anyone Nigerian here, African, West African? Where are you from? Where are you from? Nigeria. Masisa. Okay, where are you from? Ghana. All right, y'all need to help me out here. What were people saying for people to, for your parents, for when you are getting, for you to be, in terms of like the types of jobs that you can have? Doctor, lawyer, engineer, and if you're not any one of those three, you're what?
Loser.
You're a loser, yeah, you're a failure. So I want you to think to yourself, I came in as a pre-pharmacist, and I took a class on African diasporic religions, and I knew that I was going to be a Black Studies major. I went up to my father, I said, Dad, I figured it out. He's like, my daughter, you figured out what? And I said, yeah, I'm going to be a Black Studies major. I'm going to focus on Haitian religion. And he said, you have forgotten who you are. Don't you know you are Black? How can you just study Black studies? Can you make any money with that? And that was actually very hard. And I want to tell some of the undergrads that are here that I hope that you become an abundant failure. And I hope that you choose what you want to desire and what you see yourself dreaming to be, to go for that dream. Because all of a sudden, when I told him that, he was really mad. But then I got into Harvard. And we all know, when you get into Harvard, now it became, my daughter. She is at Harvard. You too should study tradition. And I was like, so the institution has to tell you that now I'm cool. Then I got to Penn. He said, my daughter has multiple Ivy League degrees. Have you thought about telling your daughters and your sons to study African traditional religions? And then I got into Princeton. He said, she can do no wrong. And then I started getting more images, my cousins, uncles, and aunts started finally showing me ideas about Igbo religious traditions that some of them actually mimics, have moved into Haitian religion. Mm-hmm. So that's like my third book about thinking about the Igbo influences in Haitian religion. Mm-hmm. But again, I wanted just to say that it took me to study Haitian religion, getting to these schools, for me to understand my own history. Mm. And so it has been a long way, but again, I'm so grateful for this opportunity. Another thing that happened is that now I'm teaching at the University of Miami. So now my dad, especially because the football team has gone 7-0. So he'll be like, "My daughter is teaching at the U." And he'll do that. They were just watching the game, and my cousins just called me. They said, "Eziaku, yeah, your father has been drinking. He likes to drink, and he said, you like the U, Miami, huh? But my own daughter teaches those students, so you can merely watch. But my daughter, she is the shepherd of these students. Who are you?" So again, I want to thank the University of Miami for being here. Y'all make me look good. My full face. Thank you for winning. It's just interesting. But again, I want to just also think about my access into the space. And in the book, you'll read that a couple of things are happening. One, I have to talk about myself in a Black feminist context by thinking about this reflexive approach. How I, as a first-gen Igbo American, when I enter the field, and also my femme gender presenting space, I shape how people perceive me. And people talk to me in a different way because of my skin color, because of my size, and because of my Africanness. So, something is happening here. What do you notice? This is me, just by the way, just letting you know. This is me in spiritual garb. What do you notice about what I'm doing right now? Fixing her head wrap. So, in Haitian Vodou, I'm a non-initiate. I'm not initiated in the religious tradition. A non-initiate is not supposed to touch a spiritual practitioner's head. Why is that? Yeah. Okay, don't you embarrass me. Here we go. Why is that, Tamara? That's where the spirit lives. Okay. This conversation was week 3, so she's making me look good. All right. That's where the spirit resides. And as someone that's a non-initiate, it is important. I should not be allowed to touch a spiritual practitioner's head. But because of my Africanness, and Manbo Maude sees me as a connection to the spirit, to the Black lineage and ancestry, I'm allowed. So I also think it's important to know that because I'm not initiated in the field of anthropology and in religious studies, I have actually seen a number of backlash from different scholars who have felt that one might need to be initiated to understand the religious tradition. This actually really upsets me because nobody says, especially in the field of religious studies, if someone is studying Islam, no one's asking them if they converted to Islam. If somebody is a part of Christianity, no one has asked if they're a born-again Christian, or if someone is converted to Judaism. But something happens about a Black person studying Black religion. They're like, well, how do you know? How do you get access to the spaces? And I had to respond to them by saying, first of all, I'm a scholar of religious studies. I'm also studying public religion, and therefore, by studying public religion, it is important for me to know that there's also boundaries that I can go, and there's boundaries that I don't have to go, and that's okay. What I don't need to know through the initiation process is not going to change or dictate how the work is going to be done. Does that make sense for people? Because this is like an important aspect as ways that people have seen my work and even have to engage my work, and also thinking about the field of religious studies. And African religions. I've had several students before that were interested in studying Santeria and Brazilian Candomblé, and something in them said, asked me, Professor, I really like this work, but I don't know if my parents are going to allow me to get initiated. And I'm like, what makes you say that? What prompts you to say that conversation? So again, for me to be a non-initiate studying these religious traditions, I was trying to showcase that this is how you can do this type of work. So I want to move on by thinking about Manbo Maude. So Manbo Marie Maude Evans is a Haitian Vodou practitioner. She also has many degrees. This made not just sense to me. When you talk to a Nigerian person, and he knows this, they'll ask you one question: what is your name? And then what's the next question? Who can tell me? What school do you go to?
Of course.
Right? So I'm going to pick on Justin, because I know where Justin's school is. So say if I am flirting with Justin and I are going to be playing. And I'm looking at Justin, I'm like, Justin, how are you? And Justin will say, good. You're good. So I'm like, Justin, what school did you go to? Or what school did you go to? He'll say what?
Harvard.
Aha. So I'm like, okay, Harvard, yes. So this is the Nigerian way. And again, I want to make sure that you know that part of my own background, again, I've been to 300 ceremonies, I've seen a number of people of how they practice religious traditions. Hearing how Manbo Maude has used her degrees as a way to enhance her spiritual home was something that fascinated me. She has a degree in as a mental health clinician. The work could have been different if I focused on mental health. She also has a degree in fashion studies. She also has a degree in economics. So she cares about the ways that people are entering the religious tradition, the ways that people are she's thinking about clothing, and also the money. And as a Nigerian, understanding the money aspect, the moolah, is so important. That's a whole chapter. That was chapter 2. So I care about where the money resides. So Manbo Maude is a fashion trendsetter. And in this picture, I wanted to showcase that there are things that we're going to see that are happening outside the religious tradition and things that are happening within the Vodou tradition. But this process of picking out the dress, picking out the materials, has been something that I had to learn quickly about the types of fabric and how that makes, how that connects to different types of spirits. And these types of clothing is actually very important as to how they connect to the different types of spirits. So what I mean by that is that each spirit has its own different colors, context, and religious affirmation. So this is the spirit called Gede. Gede is the spirit of life, death, and sex. And if I have more time, I could tell you this raunchy story that had to deal with my interaction with Gede. I don't know if we're going to have enough time, but this is Gede. So you see, what are his colors? Purple. Oh, look at that. Everyone's getting a good grade. And also, what other another color that you see? Black. Now, tell me, what's the type of fabric that you notice in this picture? Sequins. What else? Lace. Satin. Would you give the God of life, death, and sex, you heard me, an agricultural cotton or plaid? No. Because again, when you're thinking about the cemetery, when you're thinking about how people prepare the body, people are wearing their nice outfits, right? So again, this is a type of, these colors and combinations are meant to showcase the ideas about history, but also how one thinks about who the spirit is. Now, this is the spirit of, this color is for the spirit Dambala. And Dambala is the old wise serpent spirit. And it's from the region of Benin. What do we notice about the fabrics of this color, of this ceremony, from this image? Lace, cotton, yeah. What's the colors? Green, yellow,
White.
I just told you that the spirit is an old spirit. Would you give this spirit cotton plaid or anything that's like tattered? No. So again, the ways that people are seeing the types of spirits and these connections, it actually affects the color and the combination. And she's also wearing African print clothing, which also ties to the elder Benin spirit, and you're allowed to do that in this religious tradition. Let's keep going. Oops, excuse me. This is the spirit of Kuzan Azaka. Now, what do we notice here? This is the spirit of indigo blue. This is the spirit of farming spirit. An old man. Obviously, we have his satchel and a stick. But I just told you he's a farming spirit. So what other fabrics do we see? Denim. That's what I want to hear. Plaid. Did someone say plaid? Did I hear plaid? Or I just made that up? So again, these types of clothing and background also shapes how the spirits are seen and the ways that people are engaging the spirits. So again, the clothing matters. And if someone tried to put satin and silk for Kuzunazaka and go into a ceremony, the ceremony will actually be null and void. Because basically you have not followed the ritual rules of the religion, and also that means you don't know who those spirits are. So this is again these religious faux pas that are actually really seen as really bad. Here is a spirit named Ogu, and Ogu is the god of war. Now, what do we notice about Manbo Maude's outfit in the left side? Uniform, yes. So I said Ogu is the god of war. So he's also seen as a general. So we see her in a uniform. And what do we notice about the one on the right side? She's in a dress, right? Mm-hmm. So in my larger work, I talk about the interplays of gender and sexuality and the ideas about spiritual innovation, and the fact that Manbo Maude wearing a suit is actually really, really rare and unheard of in Haitian Vodou. But because of the spiritual understandings of what these male spirits are, she's able to play with masculine and feminine natures of the religious spirit. So for her wearing a suit and tie, especially being a woman, she's able to bend those gender relationships. Now, I just told you that Manbo Maude, as a cisgender woman, is able to wear a suit and tie. If I told you a cisgender male wearing a dress, a spiritual dress, is that seen as allowed or okay?
No.
It depends on the spiritual home, but most likely not. Why is that?
Double standard.
Double standards, there are, and misogyny and patriarchy. So again, that's really good. The types of gender analysis and the types of gender explorations, women, especially cis and queer women, are able to bend those norms of gender representations. But cisgender men, they're actually not able or not as allowed, unless they are queer men and it's a safe space for a queer spiritual home. And again, this is something I had to understand, that not all homes are created equal, and the diversity of the spiritual home is actually, it really matters about who can be in those spaces and how one can actually thrive in those spiritual spaces, because not all spaces are safe for queer people. Did you have a question, Phil?
No.
Oh, okay. I also wanted to bring up, before I go to the clip, I wanted to bring up the types of intimacies that are happening in Haitian Vodou. What do we notice from this image? What do we think we see in this image?
She's unconscious.
She's unconscious.
Being taken care of.
She's taking comfort and care, yes. So again, I wanted to think about, as I'm thinking about community and preparation and the clothing, there's also spiritual care that happens in and outside of ceremony. In this case, this Haitian Vodou initiate has just come out of a Vodou trance and possession, yes. And here is a Haitian Vodou practitioner making sure that she's okay. In this case, she'll probably give her water, but she has to hold her up. And also in terms of respectability, sometimes when people are dancing, the dress can come up, and you want to make sure the dress is covered. So again, these types of intimate cares that happens in the community is something that I've also thought about too. Now, I'm always mindful about sharing this image, and I thought that it's important for me to share this image when it comes to thinking about the discrepancies about Haiti and Haiti's poverty. And so I want to make sure I say this. Not everyone likes that Manbo Maude is doing this lavish spiritual dress. And there's people that are actually very offended by her. And so in this case, we see people people that are in the audience that actually are reveling in the dress and touching the dress and are actually very happy that she's doing this. And I've interviewed a number of the audience members, and they'll say, when I see Manbo Maude's home, I see beauty, and I see the ways that she's taking care of our religion, and I know I feel good. And so this is something that I try to juxtapose, is both the ideas about the tensions and the acceptability of Manbo Maude spaces. I want to also rest by saying this, that being in these spiritual homes and seeing the different types of ways that people can practice the religious tradition, fashion makes sense to me because of the ways that it opens up an avenue to think about all the interplays that I talked about: gender, sexuality, talked about the bending, and I talked about like how people can use, how the spirits can speak to people's individual abilities. I traveled to Port-au-Prince, Haiti in 2009, and I spoke to this one Haitian Vodou Ungan, that's a Haitian male practitioner, and he has a degree in biochemistry. In this case, he has like over 2,000 species and plants in his spiritual home, and he was using these spiritual plants to think about the herbs and healing methods of Haitian Vodou. Because for him, the spirits told him that he needed to use his gifts as a biochemist to think about the spirits. So again, I could give you so many different examples of people using their gifts. But resting in Manbo Maude, I get to think about the types of ideas about wealth, the ideas about pushing away the ideas about poverty, and also thinking about spiritual innovation and change over time, especially when it comes to being with Manbo Maude's home and seeing the types of work in the change of dresses that she has over the years. People have thought about, some scholars have thought about different types of archives, and I would say to Manbo that she has a fashion archive or a clothing archive that can tell us times that she has changed her dresses over time. So she has barrels. Has anyone been to the Caribbean and seen those big old barrels? Mm-hmm. Right? So if you ever go to Manbo Maude's home, she has barrels in both her home in Jacmel, Haiti, and in Boston, Massachusetts. I could pick up any clothing, and then she would tell me where what year that clothing is, and if she liked the dress and what that spirit is for. This is, when we think about intellectual memory and our archival work, this is what I'm trying to push this idea about how we think about archives and where we can find those types of archives. And her home, her clothing archives is one of them. I want to go to now a ceremony. Do I have enough time? Do I have one more? 2 minutes. Okay. I want to show one ceremony.